I love also the fact that in creating that experience that you want for yourself, it's important to set boundaries.
Yeah. Smashing point.
Boundaries, mate.
I think we can talk about this for the next hour or so. All right, let's get into this.
As two young people who have experienced their early 20s, we wish we had known these advice. We're really passionate about helping young people find their footing, and today we will be sharing some tips we wish we knew in our early 20s.
So if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing, hit that like button, and also remember to hit the notification bell. I'm Ray, this is Sammy, and in this video, as someone said, what we're going to be discussing is advice that we would give our 20-year-old self.
No, the first thing that we want to talk about is, what would I do if I was 18 years old and living my mother's house? I know a lot will be going through my mind at that stage. What do I need to do at that point?
Okay. So
I'm so stressed out.
Yeah.
I don't know what career path to go down. I hear that you can become a teacher, lawyer, doctor, or whatever. And what would you say to me?
All right. So you're in your teens, your late teens,
like 18.
You're about to enter into your 20s, and you're like, okay, my life's about to hit me. I'm adulting now, like, you know. And
you
to
gotta
be
take
honest,
our responsibilities.
Yeah, like it was when I actually got to about 18 that I started to feel like, whoa, responsibilities started to come thick and fast. So for me, at that point, you're in such an amazing point because you're still young, energetic. You've got all this energy, you got all this ambition potentially. But what I would be doing is looking to reach out to people that have done what you have desired to do.
Yep. So
if you want to go into construction, who do you know, whether it be in your family circle, within your friends, their parents maybe, it may be your teachers, they may even know somebody. There's going to be somebody that knows somebody that is in a field or area that you want to actually go into. So just ask around, ask as many questions to as many people as possible, and try and speak to those people who have done what you want to do. That would be the first thing that I would be looking to do.
That's a great point. Also, you have to take into consideration they might not know anyone. Say it's when I met you I heard about quantity surveyor. So I wouldn't know I don't know no one in my family or friends or whatever that knows that's a quantity surveyor. So what can I do? Like, for me personally, what I'm thinking I would do from the experience I've had now is do researches online. Google.
Yeah.
What does a quantity surveyor do? For me, money is important, so I'll not leave that part out. How much do they make? Because that's what I did when I came over here, and that's one of the steps that I took to find the career. How much money do they make? What do they do day to day? Do I love it? Am I passionate about this? But at the end of the day, you're gonna make tons of mistakes in your early 20s. So why not? Why don't try out this field? You know what I mean? Definitely.
But I think at that age, it's quite critical to try and focus down as much as possible.
Yeah.
So what I would recommend and advise anyone that's around at that age is to try and put together a plan. And a plan doesn't mean that it's going to necessarily be restricting you to that one thing that you've put on that piece of paper. But writing down a set of goals and a set of desires and things that you will decide to make a decision to press towards will change your mindset towards those things. You start to not focus on the fluff that life has and kind of throw at you. You start to focus on those things that are very important to you at that point. And just watch, you write down those goals, and within a couple of weeks, months, maybe even years, potentially, you start to see how things start to line up and they start to fall into place. There's many a times where I've put financial goals in place, and they may have been in regards to a certain salary that I wanted, and to the penny,
you get it,
I achieved that salary. So the other lesson to that is also don't think too small, because you might get what you ask for. That's the other thing.
That's a great advice. I love that one. And to be honest with you, as you've said, it's important to be focused. I love that point, because at the end of the day, as you continue to be focused, as you've said, you start seeing things fall into place. You are achieving what you wrote down and stuff like that, and set your mind towards. And if you want counseling from someone, you can reach out to people online. Some people are okay to talk to you, and even if they don't answer you, because I've messaged a lot of people on LinkedIn, that not a lot, but some people on LinkedIn that up to today they haven't responded, but that's okay. I mean, other people have. So I've gotten the results I wanted. So it's okay to reach out to people online. We have a broad network of people on LinkedIn, Instagram, all of those places.
Yeah, definitely. And, as much as possible, try and broaden your network. You're at such a young age, right? But it's still quite critical, I feel, to push yourself, to develop the confidence, to meet people, and to try to aspire to get to know individuals that are in the field that you want to go into. So that's pretty much the first point, but slightly different in the sense that make a keen effort to actually go out and network intentionally.
Yeah.
In whatever capacity that may be. If you wanted to go into property investment, there are hundreds of property investment meetups, throughout the year, and so on and so forth. So, just try and make that effort to do what it is that you want to do. But the first step is obviously getting to know people that have done it first. And then you can ask advice. You can ask, pertinent questions and specific questions that are related to that discipline, that are being answered then by someone who's experienced it. Someone's an expert, someone's a leader in that field. Yeah.
One of the advice that I wish I had was, it's okay to make mistakes and you're gonna learn as you go. Like, I was a scared little child. If anyone of you know me, I'm a shy person when I go out in crowd. Even now, I still will portray myself as that shy person. I'll be like at a place and I'm not talking or not saying anything. But at the end of the day, what I recognize that if you want to get something, you have to be open to talk to people and learn as you go. It's okay to make mistakes. Apply for that job even though you think you won't be able to get it. I mean, you might not know what will happen. Just continue applying for it. Because you're at that stage where it's okay to even get like a entry level. They call it entry level over here, or graduate type role, or apprenticeship type role. You might get a little money now, but I bet it will compound after you finish your apprenticeship. It will compound over time. Like, you'll be shocked. You'll be on not pennies anymore.
I just want to develop on that point, because sometimes it's quite easy to feel as though you want to jump into that perfect role or find that perfect job. There is no perfect job. I tell you, I
had to learn it lately.
Yeah. There isn't a perfect job. Every job will give you certain skills, certain
accolades.
Yeah, or help you to develop your acumen in certain areas. So you may be an accountant in one company that may be related to, I don't know, the NHS or the health service. That will give you a certain skill set, and it will train your mind in a certain direction. In comparison to you going into a main contracting construction company, very, very different environment, very different mindset. So that management, accounting, and in the way that a person may do accounting in that company may be very, very different. So you're going to learn new skills, new ways of working, new software. So understand why you're going into a certain company, and as you go into that company, think about what you're actually going to take away and learn as you're there. This is something that I always do when I make a jump in my career. I'm always very keen and strategic about what it is I'm actually going to that company to do, and what it is that I need to be taken away from that company, whether it be in 3 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years. What am I actually going to be doing whilst I'm there that's going to benefit my career ultimately? and moving forward. So, now that you're young and, you're thinking about this, fresh from like the start of your journey, have that in mind. As you go through your career, you have different instances where you pick up very, very, very important skills that will set you up later on, but they may not always come in the same place.
Yeah, that's a very good point. We have delved into the career section of your life. No, every one of us have other areas of our life, and we're gonna talk about now the 5 F's that we want to focus on, like your financial life, your faith life, your family life, your freedom, fitness. These are very, very important areas of our lives that we have to take into consideration. I know for as a young chap, as a young person, teenager, you want to start making money. You want to get a lot of money, but you're not thinking about what do you want to achieve as a family. What type of family do I want? How do I want my family relationship to be like? Because you can find that job becomes so busy, then you find a girlfriend or a boyfriend and you don't even have quality time to spend with them because you're so busy at your job 24/7. I know it's the period of your life that you're building. It's also important to think about those areas because you want to also have quality time with your family and not overwork yourself. Because some people do overwork themselves and end up losing their health eventually.
Yeah, definitely. There's one thing that somebody said to me one time, and it was that you can kind of deal with if, in relation to work-life balance, right?
Yeah.
You can kind of deal with if, your home life is not so great, but your work life is really good. Yeah. Or vice versa, your home life is good and your work life is not so great. But if both of them are really bad, forget it. Like you're done. You're finished. It's an absolute disaster. Yeah. You might as well just give up there and then. All right, don't give up, guys. But
you can't be.
But point is, right? Ultimately, you want both of them to be in the best place possible, and that takes work. Both of them ultimately are like a job. It's not easy to have a family and so on and so forth. So if you're able to set those things up with the right mindset initially, you place yourself in a great position to be successful in both of those areas, and both are equally as important. I'm sure if you have a bad marriage or whatever, it will affect you in your work life.
Yeah,
and you spend so much time at work.
Yeah,
the majority of your time in your days is spent at work. So why not try and balance as much as possible the two? And that, as I said, it takes work. It's not easy.
Yeah.
So having, as someone said, a plan and how you can aid each one of those areas of life,
like break them down.
Yeah, break them down
and write them down. What do you want your financial life to look like? That's in terms of your job. What do you want your faith life to look like? That's in terms of your relationship with God, or whatever your relationship with spiritual relationship is. Your family life, what do you want it to look like? What type of freedom do you want to have? I mean, these areas are so important. And don't forget, one of the most important also is your fitness. Because if your body becomes feeble, you're not eating properly, you're not doing the right things towards your health, and you've gone to school and you've gotten the career, and then you can't even do the job properly that you now get, your dream job. So it's also important to balance those areas and see how best you can. It might not be easy, but for me, I would pray about it because I'm a Christian. Whatever you do, you can do it to help you to balance these areas. I love also the fact that in creating that experience that you want for yourself, it's important to set boundaries.
Yeah. Smashing point.
Boundaries, mate.
I think we can talk about this for the next hour or so. All right. Let's get into this. All right. What do you mean by boundaries? So explain that a little bit. Delve into that, because I think that's quite an important area that needs to be spoken about. Because I see all the time there's certain relationships that may be damaged or hurt because there isn't a correct boundary in place. So is there anything that you wanted to say on that point?
For me personally, boundaries can come in many aspects. You can have but you can set boundaries in your normal day-to-day life with your friends and your family. Boundaries also with your job, because you have jobs that are so overly taxing that you have to take job to home and you can't even talk to your family. So it's important to set boundaries with your job and how you manage that. But it's also important to set boundaries with your family, your friends, your relatives, and stuff like that. I know you can elaborate more on that point.
No, think about it. It's very simple. Boundaries is just that, like, if you had a garden and you don't have any boundaries between you and your neighbor, and your neighbor has a dog, and that dog is then coming into your garden and doing their business you're gonna be upset. You're gonna be fuming.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So why not set that boundary to allow, a clear-cut distinction between your property and your neighbor's property, and any business that dog wants to do in their property that's his business. But your property, it stays clean, your daffodils are good, your grass is cut nice, so it's protecting, it's hedging around your sphere, your property, and that may not necessarily be physical property. It may even be your mental space,
your mind, mate.
Yeah, literally.
Your mind.
Literally. So that's how I always think about boundaries, and sometimes it's not easy to actually set boundaries. That's another thing. Like, you may not even know how to set boundaries.
Yep. There's a book called Boundaries, though.
Yeah, great book. I think it might even be worth linking that book in the description, and we'll probably put it on the screen somewhere, because that book, it helps you to understand how to say no to certain things. And believe it or not, there may be times where you may be too afraid to actually say no for whatever reason. So it's important to be able to have that no in place and learn, how to put those solid no's in place, right? So for me, boundaries are quite important, and what they do is they also protect your values. If you as a person have certain values in a particular area, and your boss or whoever it may be is asking you to do things that are against those values, that's going to send you crazy. You're just going to be absolutely, distraught.
Driving.
Really,
nuts.
It's going to drive you nuts. So by allowing individuals to understand where your lines are and, where your values are, it makes it very clear where you will not and where you will be going, with certain decisions. And it's healthy for everyone.
Yeah.
People know where you stand then.
Because it will help you in taking care of your mental health.
Yeah, definitely.
Setting boundaries will help you know how important your mental health is. Because your career can take over your life, or whatever it is. There are various things that can ultimately take over your life, but you have to see how important your mental health is. I'll give you an example. Taking a set time of the day to really sit down by yourself. It's okay to be by yourself. Taking that time away by yourself, having that fresh look on where you're at the minute, where you want to go, and without the distraction of anyone, And for me, that's a period of time that I take also to pray and to really meditate and to figure out what the place I'm at and where I want to go, and see the various things that are intruding in those places, and and understand the various things that I can do to get rid of those things ultimately, or set a boundary on those things.
Speaking of mental health, I think one of the things that have really, as a younger person, bothered me, especially at work, and I didn't really get this at first, but in later life, I started to realize that one of the things I can't allow myself to do, and especially not other people, is to compare me with others. Nah, forget it. It's not happening. So for me, this is where you start to now limit me by the achievements of others. I'm not interested in anybody else's achievements. In fact, I understand where I'm going, and I understand that anything that I want to do is not impossible for me, and it's very possible for me. And it's that sort of mindset that, you know, will help you to achieve those goals that you would have set out, you know, in the advice that we gave earlier about, you know, writing those things down. So, you know, having that plan in place, knowing where you're going and where your boundaries are or not, and then having that clear in your mind will help you safeguard against, you know, the comments of maybe it might even come from our boss. Like, that's the worst.
Are your family?
Or your family or friends,
Yeah.
you know. Oh, you know, you can't do that because XYZ hasn't been able to do that. You know, have you not? Or even on the flip side, it may be, okay, XYZ is doing this so well, you know.
Why are you not doing that?
Yeah.
Comparison is a thief, you know. It can steal your joy, it can steal your mental health, it can steal, it can take away from you you get what I mean? It can steal from you what you really want to do and how you want to experiment with life, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's okay to the person that you should compare yourself to is the person that you was yesterday.
That is a banging point. That's absolutely banging. Because that, for me, just lets you know who you're actually in competition with. And it's nobody else.
But
it's yourself. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no one else to be in competition with other than yourself.
I'll give you an example. You remember when I came to the UK and I researched the type of job I want, and I want to go down the route of being a business analyst. So I did the course and so excited to go get that job, apply for jobs, did countless interviews, still haven't landed a role. And then I'm in a group with some friends, and I've seen, oh my God, I see this one say, I finally landed a job, and I'm like, I start feeling sad, and I'm like, oh my God, how this person find the job and I can't find the job? This person had this background. How come I'm still in the same place? And I was comparing, and I got so stressed out, to be honest with you. I was so stressed out. So I'm talking from experience. It can actually steal your joy. And then my husband started reminding me, like, somehow you have come really far. You came to the UK, and in the space of 2 years or a year and a half, you not only pass your driving test and you've landed a great role, because some graduates are not getting what you're getting paid, and you've done so much, like, for yourself. You're helping your family, you're doing this, you're doing that. And I'm like, it's true, you know, because in Jamaica, if I was to buy a car, it would have taken me ages, and I have a home. It would have taken me countless years, and I've had so much. So being grateful, the next point we want to touch on is being grateful. Like, be grateful for where you're at. The things that you have today, you did not have them yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So as a person, like an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old, use this opportunity, or a 20-year-old or even 30-year-old, because some of us start from that age. Because for myself, I started late with career path. So wherever you're at, just be grateful for the steps that you've taken, the achievements that you have gained, or the progress you've made. It will really help your heart to be more happy and content, because contentment is so important in this life. If you're not content, it can get you really stressed out.
I definitely agree. All right, so I want to bring this conversation to a close, and we want to thank you so much for, you know, sticking to the end of this video. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe. It really does help out this channel, and we really do appreciate it. And also hit the link.
Yeah.
Hit the link in the description, and download your free financial tracker, which helps you to ensure that your financial journey is being supported by a plan, you know, that is able to, you know, categorize everything that you need it to do, and give you a very good picture of what your finances actually look like. So if you want a video that breaks that down, we've got a video just here. Just make sure you head over there, and, you know, you'll be able to get a walkthrough or guide to putting together that budget. All right.
I also want to add, make sure after you've done all those things, please, if you have any questions, if you're a youth and you have any questions, not only a youth, whatever you age you are, and you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments, please. Ask, throw the questions at us. What do you want to know? You can also reach out to us on Instagram or LinkedIn at Rayon Valentine or Samoy Valentine, and on Instagram the same, Rayon Valentine or Samoy Valentine. Reach out to us. We might not know it all, but we can probably direct you to someone who will be able to assist you.